It's that we know we can't keep going if nothing changes.
Right.
If we stay on this road at this speed, eventually something terrible is going to happen. When we start to recognize that, it's a sign we're burned out, but more importantly, it's a sign there's a breaking point coming. Hey everybody, welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I am the founder of Forward Partners, and I am joined by my partner in podcasting, Emily Grace Deal. Emily, what are we talking about today?
Today, we have kind of a scenario for you.
Okay.
This has been a very challenging year, both at work and personally, and I feel like I'm almost at a breaking point. It's overwhelming to know where to start, but I don't want to give up.
That is the first thing I noticed there is the overwhelming to know where to start, right? When we are stuck, when we're just in one of those seasons, that's a hard place to be.
Where to begin?
Where do we begin? And the other piece I'm noticing there is you said, I'm almost at a breaking point. Let's talk first about this idea of breaking points, because we talk a lot about burnout, right? Burnout is almost a state of being that determines how we see things and how we interact with things, right? A breaking point, though, that's a dramatic thing, right? That is I cannot keep going. Something is now broken. Something has changed. It's funny, not ha-ha funny, but it's funny how often we require breaking points. We think about it in terms of, a breaking point that we're speeding towards. We think about it in terms of rock bottom. Why are we so hard-headed that we need that? I don't understand it.
It's a bigger question that probably takes a longer episode.
Yeah, we can't do that one in under 10 minutes. But I mean, really, when you think about it, there is something that rather than being willing to let off the gas, we see the breaking point coming in the future. Rather than let off the gas and slowly drive around it or exit off that highway and say this isn't for me right now, we just keep barreling through, and we have to have that breaking point to stop us. I think part of it first is we got to recognize the breaking point. We got to see it coming. And this person, they see it coming, right? They recognize, there is something bad about to happen. Because I also will point out, they said at work and at home, like it's been a hard season. Sometimes we have those where it just stacks up against us.
Yes.
And so we have to talk about really how do we start to notice that there's a breaking point coming. I think a lot of this will feel kind of like the episode where we talked about what are the signs of burnout? What are those consistent pieces of burnout? A lot of this is going to feel very similar because we can be in burnout and it is that state of being, but eventually we are going to hit a breaking point if we're burned out.
Right. That's bigger moment.
Yes. And so there's a few different things. One, I think we feel overwhelmed by everything. We talked about that consistent sense of overwhelm, right? When we see even small things as big things, that is a sign there's a breaking point coming eventually.
Right, because you could normally probably deal with a lot of those little moments.
100%.
But whenever you're nearing that breaking point and you're in that burnout, then it's like, nope, this is just not even.
This
not
is a bridge
even,
too far. This is one. Yes, I've felt that a lot lately. The second one is we feel lost and alone. Like we really do feel genuinely lost. This person, at the end of that, I don't know where to start. There's a sense of loss there, right? There's a sense of, I don't know what the next steps are. A lot of the work we do, right, is showing people what next steps are. What's the next 1, 2, or 3 steps you can take? And my experience is people are more likely to take them once someone shows them to them.
What's in your control today? What can you do today?
But if we also feel alone, there's probably no one to show us those steps, right? There's nobody to speak life into us and encourage us.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. The third one is, we view even good things with cynicism. So again, there is that constant sense of cynicism because we're trapped, because we're stuck. And so if we're feeling that along with those other sides of burnout, ultimately there's a breaking point coming. But I think the last piece, and this is where it is a little different, it's that we know we can't keep going if nothing changes.
Right.
If we stay on this road at this speed, eventually something terrible is going to happen. When we start to recognize that, it's a sign we're burned out, but more importantly, it's a sign there's a breaking point coming. Being able to spot that is the biggest piece of this, right? If we don't see the breaking point coming, we are going to slam headfirst into that thing. Sometimes it might even surprise us.
Yeah, a lot of wreckage.
A lot of wreckage. And it's funny how, when you think about wrecks, have you ever been in a car wreck?
Yes.
it is fast, right? Like it's funny how many things in life we watch via movies in slow motion, and we're like, oh, you just kind of swerve out of the way. And we think of these things you think of fights all the time in slow motion.
It's like weird slow-mo that you have no control over.
Yes, and it happens instantly. It's loud, it's chaotic, there's damage done all over the place. And often it's very surprising. Like rarely do we see the wreck coming.
Right.
I can think of one I've ever had where I saw it coming. I looked in the review mirror and I was literally on the phone with Rebecca with a headpiece. I was not on my phone. I was on the phone with her and I looked up and I went, oh, this is about to suck. I'll call you back as soon as I'm not in a wreck. And she's like, what? But that's a rarity. Usually the wreck just happens out of nowhere, right? Spotting that breaking point is hopefully going to help us learn to avoid it. And that's what I really want to dive into next episode is once we see the breaking point coming, we see the signs of burnout, we have that feeling of, I can't keep going.
Yeah.
Now what? Leader, if you are on that highway, that burnout highway, and you're running 1,000 miles an hour, and you feel that if nothing changes, I can't keep going. There is a breaking point in front of you somewhere. We have got to learn how to let off the gas. And so we're going to talk about that next episode. We're going to really dive into how do we do that? How do we let off the gas so we can steer around this, so we can get off this highway and make sure that we are not trapped in this to where we have to have that breaking point. We have to have that rock bottom to stop us. Because I can tell you when you hit that point, when you hit rock bottom, it does damage to people all around you. And they feel it and you will feel it and regret it later. And so we've got to learn how to do this. So first step is spotting the breaking point. Then we're going to dive into next episode. How do we actually let off the gas and avoid that?
Yeah.
If people want to send us questions, if they are at the breaking point and literally just need someone to talk to, where do they find us?
They can find us at Forward Partner.
At Forward Partner Online. If they want to reach out and send us questions, anything that we can do to help, where do they email us at?
lab@forwardpartners.net.
lab@forwardpartners.net. Thank you for bringing this conversation. John, thank you for producing. Wilco Workspaces, thank you for partnering with us. And thank you for diving in and joining us on this journey. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.